We're going to talk about the mythology of leads. I made some basic points regarding to what leads are. I think that's pretty obvious to everyone at this point, but maybe good to focus on for the my perspective on them. So first of all, a lead is kind of telling the story. It's the main part of the song that you remember most often. You don't really remember effects or other stuff. You remember the leads and everything else after that in a way. So you could say this is one of the most prominent, definitely the most prominent in the mix. Why it's good to understand the sort of meaning behind a lead is it gives you a better idea how to write them, because it's not just writing MIDI like a robotic thing. It's you have to have some kind of musical understanding with rhythm, because this is your instrument or synth that is going to be driving the track the most. So for me personally, when I started with forest music, I had a lot of sort of foresty, quite panned sounds. And someone once said to me, quite a well-known producer, asked me about my leads, where were my leads in the track, and it was kind of like he didn't really know forest music, so he wasn't, I don't think, so used to it. But he also had a point, because it was very squelchy, and yeah, it made me think about what it is to have a lead, and I was realizing it's also, in a way, confidence, Lead is such a confident sound. So to play a good lead, to have a good lead sound, you need to be confident and that you know what you're doing regarding your envelopes and your notation. Okay, let's talk about the difference between the Zenonesque style for leads compared to Psytrance. Well, Zenon is more, I would say, cinematic. Some Psytrance music is cinematic. Some of it's very much more about leads and synths, in your face synths. Some forest, what I would say is cinematic, and I mean in a way how a movie is mixed. It's really good sound. The sound effects are very 3D. It sounds like real life, or at least sounds big. Where I find some psytrance isn't really like that. It's a bit more, like because of the minimal layers, it's a bit more two-dimensional in a way. Ironically, because it's supposed to be psytrance. But anyway, so why some forest music and or most Zenonesque is the way it is because of the focus on sound quality and soundscaping. So not relying on a lead to drive the whole track, to tell the whole story. Rather using certain aspects of all sounds together in combination. So talking about leads for Xenon, it's quite a gray area, because you could be talking about many aspects of it, because sometimes you have a percussion section that's leading, like a real drummer would. Sometimes you have a bit of that, or a drum roll, or atmosphere that's been chopped up or glitched up. It's kind of emphasizing the main melody of the track. Yes, it can be sound effects, and this can be called that, but sometimes in the Zenonesque sound and sound design, you cut stuff up and chop it up and mix it up with the lead. So you'd use a little bit of a lead sound, like the first 3 notes, rather than a full 8 bars or 16 bars. And those first few notes, you'll play with a filter, and they'll come in now and again. And then a few other notes, call and response kind of thing. A lot more space in between the notes than a conventional psytrance. And the difference between this and techno, I would say, regarding the leads, is that it's got just some more futuristic sounds and textures from a lot of psychedelic music. And of course, some techno is massive. Some techno's got huge leads. So I've been really enjoying getting into learning how to make techno and applying this to the Zenonesque, because it applies as well. So yeah, there you have it. A bit of a difference between the few different styles, and just to define the Zenonesque style. The main points are shorter notes, relying less on leads to take the foreground, to keep the song busy or going. Using leads more strategically placed, the right moments, and the right emphases, and using all elements as leads in a way, because, like we've explained, what a lead does, it leads you ahead. It's a center point. So in the Zenonesque, you could bring a volume up of something else that's not particularly a lead, and it can act like a lead for a while. But we're gonna, instead of avoiding complication, we're gonna focus more on synthesis in this one, and using leads from various synths, mainly wavetable, and to try and get a relatively analogy lead, but also futuristic sort of FM texture, but warm and yeah, like that you can play as an instrument quite comfortably.